But we're now finding out even more bad news surrounding Jalen Carter and his off-the-field incident at UGA. Jason Kelce is preparing for life after football, and Philadelphia, they're favored in a bunch of games with this new schedule launch. I'm Thomas Mott. This is the Thomas Mott Show. What's up, guys? Thomas Mott here. Welcome to the Thomas Mott Show on a Friday. Thumbs up for the weekend being here and the Eagles schedule officially being released. We're going to jump into some news around that. First, though, there's a new update regarding the Jalen Carter situation. As we talked about on Wednesday, there's a lawsuit now pending from his former Georgia teammate's father, although there's a new piece of evidence here, which is at least interesting. Let's at least cover it here. ML Football has the update via ESPN. Quote, former Georgia star and Eagles first-round selection Jalen Carter was driving with a suspended license during the night of the January 15th incident in Athens, Clark County, Georgia, that led to misdemeanor charges of reckless driving and racing per ESPN. The vehicle that Carter was alleged to be racing against crashed, resulting in the death of Georgia teammate Devin Willock and recruiting staffer Chandler LaCroix. Now, of course, we've already talked about this. This is not anything new except for the suspended license part. I'm not seeing anything on him driving with a suspended license. Now, the good news is this was all, of course, in the initial charges that he left the combine for. It's not like it's new news for the attorneys or new news for the judge or new news in terms of the overall situation. However, this could be some new news for the National Football League. I doubt it. I feel like the Eagles and them all did their due diligence. This doesn't concern me in terms of him missing football games, but it is interesting. If things got a little more interesting, you might see the league, I don't know if they're going to suspend, but maybe they fine. I just don't know how they handle a situation that took place in college, but this is definitely something new. Curious your guys' thoughts on the Jalen Carter situation. Okay, over here to the Joe Gigolo post in terms of the Eagles being favored in 14 of their 17 games this year following the schedule release. Look at this. This is interesting, right? The Eagles are favorites against the Patriots, big favorites against the Vikings, against the Bucks, and against the Commanders. So that 4-0 start is very likely. Big favorites against the Rams, too, on the road. They're not favorites against the Jets, +1 against Aaron Rodgers. Jets and Rodgers are going to get a lot of favorable games this year. That's expected. Dolphins are favorites. Commanders are favorites. Cowboys -3. Chiefs +3. Okay, it makes sense. Bills, Eagles are favored -1.5. That's interesting. Very interesting there. 49ers -2.5. Cowboys +1. So it switches due to the fact that it's an away game. Then Seattle, then the Giants, then the Cardinals, and then, of course, the Giants again. So really, you're favored in every single game except for looking at the Jets game, the away Cowboy game, and the Chiefs game. So you're favored in the 49er game, you're favored in the Bill game. This is, to me, very interesting and showcases that even though Philadelphia has a quote-unquote tough schedule and a rough stretch, which we've talked about, they still are going to be favored in most of their games due to the fact their roster is just so stacked. We talked about this a million times. The roster is as good as it comes to the National Football League, and if they get onto a hot start here the first 4 weeks, the rest of the National Football League is going to be put on notice, and you're going to see those lines obviously change, like the Jets one, as we get closer to the actual game. Not to be outdone here, there's a very interesting article on SI.com saying that Philadelphia has the best chance to win a lot of games this year. They're projected to win the most in the NFC. Listen to this, quote, Eagles have a good chance to rack up wins in the early portion of the season, says NFL.com, and 58.1% of simulations, their record heading into Week 10 is 7-2. After that, though, they face the toughest 5-game stretch of their schedule at Chiefs, Bills, 49ers, at Cowboys, at Seahawks. Weeks 11 through 15 will really tell us a lot about this team, end quote. Now, we, of course, already know that. We've talked about that multiple times, but the fact that right now they are the team that are scheduled to have the most wins following the schedule release showcases, again, just how darn good the roster is, and the fact that Philadelphia can get back-to-back 1 seeds. We talk about it all the time. The 1 seed is absolutely critical if you want to have a shot at going to a Super Bowl, because hosting playoff games, as we saw last year and in 2017, it goes a long way versus having to go on the road, especially if you play an extra game in the wild card round. Okay, quickly, I have shipped over, I've 40 plus hat boxes today. You should be getting your shipping notification at some point today via email. Still have a couple of white ones left. You guys want to pick up the white Philly hat that just came in with the black lettering. I think it looks great, the 3D print. And I'll say this, they found me 3 more Kelly green ones. I got 3 of these left. I've restocked on the website, only 3 though, and I'm gonna get them shipped out to the first 3 people who get them. Promo code Mott down below. Use that at checkout, get 20% off. Still have some black ones as well, but the green ones, these were the favorites. I thought I had sold out, but they found me 3 more at the printing place, and so go ahead and pick one up if you've been wanting the green ones. All right, a couple more stories here to go ahead and mention. This one very interesting via Zach Berman of The Athletic. Look at the title of this tweet. Quote, Jason Kelce spent 3 days in LA learning about broadcasting media, practicing as a game analyst, studio analyst, and meeting with network execs as part of his preparation for life after football, end quote. Now, The Athletic went behind the scenes with this broadcast boot camp. Interesting article, but it's The Athletic, and there's a paywall for a lot of you guys, so do with that as you will. But essentially, the gist is he's basically trying out for a bunch of different positions. You see the picture there for the NFL Network. He will have a broadcasting life after football. The question is, what side of broadcasting does he want to do? Does he want to, be like a guy on First Take who's, similar to RG3, I think, was on earlier today? You battle with Stephen A. Smith. Do you want to be more of an NFL Network analyst, kind of like Maurice Jones-Drew or Michael Irving was, pre all the incidents that happened with Michael Irving this offseason? Do you want to be in a booth? Do you want to be, a color commentator? I think he can do any of these things, and especially with the New Heights podcast, he looks pretty darn good in terms of, vocally being in front of a camera. But this also tells you that Kelce has basically made up his mind. He will be retiring at the end of this year. He hadn't officially said it, but you can basically glean he wouldn't be doing this if he was going to do 2 more years in the National Football League. He'd wait till the final year. So this tells you he does have a life after football. It will be on camera, and it probably will be the 2024 year because he's going to retire at the end of this season. Thumbs up for Kelce, though. We expect this to happen. They have Juergens waiting in the wings. This would not be a surprise, but if you were wondering if there was an official kind of hint or leaning towards what happens with Jason Kelce at the end of the year, that seems to be a pretty darn good indication. All right, John Desai had his press conference yesterday, and it was good. I mean, listen, the first opening press conferences, we know what happened with Nick Sirianni one. You can take a lot from them. That doesn't really mean a lot overall, but Desai sounded good. He hit a lot of big talking points that I think a lot of Eagle fans like to hear, these little buzzwords. You have a little bingo card of Eagle references that you want to hear from your defensive coordinator. Elliott Shore-Parks has one of those when asked about Jim Johnson and being aggressive. Quote, "Hopefully we can honor Jim Johnson. If I can be a fraction of him as a coordinator, that would be great," end quote. He also talked about, playing tricks on the quarterback in terms of not just getting to him physically, giving him mentally as well. It sounds like Desai is going to mix things up. It sounds like it's going to be a unique defense. It sounds like it won't be a vanilla Jonathan Gannon, zero blitz, get shredded by good quarterbacks defense. But there's no way to know. And one press conference doesn't answer every single question. So I don't want to take too much from it. I don't want to do 10 minutes here, analyzing the situation from what Sean Desai said. But what I heard is a guy who seemingly understands the role. He understands what we want in Philadelphia, which is Jim Johnson 2.0. We want blitz. We want to get after the quarterback. We want to be aggressive. We want to be feared. We weren't that whenever we were with Jonathan Gannon. We had good players, but bad scheme. I think he's going to come in and be able to fix that. We'll see. I mean, there's no guarantee, again, but I'm curious your guys' thoughts on Desai. I think all of us are excited. All of us feel good about him, but I want to see some actual results on the football field, and hopefully, with the look of the schedule, think about the Aaron Rodgers game early on in the year. You play Tua eventually. You got to play the Chiefs and the 49ers and Dak twice. There are some good quarterbacks on this overall schedule, and we're going to find out pretty darn quickly just how good the Eagles roster is. Okay, plenty more stuff happening next couple of days and weeks. And of course, if you love the show, be sure to subscribe as we're getting into the thick and heat of the offseason. A lot of roster breakdowns, a lot of position battles, and fun shows like that. So be sure to hit that subscribe button for plenty more content. I'm Thomas Mott. This has been the Thomas Mott Show.